Bert?
I think she's coming in Subaru, isn't she?
Oh, expect a call for pickup then.
Oh, there he is. Oh my God.
Morning, chaps. How are you doing? Sorry I'm a bit late. God, it's freezing here, isn't it?
How are we doing? Graham.
That's me.
He's on here.
What do you think?
Not bad.
You're pretty itchy.
I think we're going to need a shovel to get the mud off it.
Yeah. No, take a pill. It's lovely. It's patina. Brilliant. We're doing a Seat today, aren't we? Yes. So we're just waiting for that to arrive. I think I can hear him coming now. And he is indeed. Oh, it's a darker red than I thought it was. And black wheels. And black glass. It's pretty tidy. It looks reasonably tidy. I think the bumpers are different colour from the rest of it. Mark?
Morning, gents.
How are you doing?
Good to meet you. Good to meet you.
Mark, we've got Graham and John.
Good to meet you.
So we're here for the PistonHeads competition.
Yeah.
We're going to make your Seat look pretty.
Hope so. Yeah. Very excited.
Well, given how cold it is, I strongly suggest we get it washed. I say we, I mean, you know, me, you. And then we get her into the unit and have a closer look at what the paint is and what we can achieve with it.
Perfect.
Great. Good. All right. Microfiber towels and your blaster.
Yep.
What towels are you using?
So it's the Auto Finesse.
Auto Finesse towel. And you were talking about using a kiln towel as well.
Yes, so we use various towels, mainly on the glass. We use like the one from the Duca detailing. He does a great drying towel.
Yeah.
Really good on glass. But I like the Auto Finesse on the paint. Just a combination that works for me.
Personal preference.
Yep.
Indeed. Well, now that we've got this into some proper lighting, and outside it looked okay.
Yep,
the bumper was a slightly different shade from the rest of the car.
Yep.
And there are a couple of marks here and there, but under lights, it's a different story, isn't it?
Definitely.
I can see here all sorts of marks. Do you want to explain what the different things we're seeing are?
So if we go from the worst case scenario, we've got a scratch here, which seems to be pretty deep, really.
So that's what we would call a random deep scratch, or an RDS, which is quite often used as a term.
So if we had any touch-up paint, we can reduce that. Then we've got some things down here. Looks like a door has been opened on it. Not as deep, but still a mark. Then going along, we've got some hedge bush scratches going down the car, and then the usual scratches underneath the door handles.
We've got a pimple there which you would need PDR man.
Yeah, so you know, if that was in for a couple of days, we'd get a paint and stain removal done on that.
And what's this sort of misting, this ghosting?
So this what looks like to me it's been had a clay cloth used on it previously, and obviously just not enough lube to what I would say it looks like. So you've got like the leopard sort of skin effect.
So this brings out an interesting topic about clay bars and clay mitts and all the other sort of clay elements, is that if your car is perfectly detailed machine polished, that's probably, and you're not going to be doing any machine polishing after that, if you're then doing a maintenance wash, decontamination with clay is not a good idea. However, in a car that's not that perfect originally, and you're just looking to decon the paint so you're putting some protection on, and you don't mind because they're already marked on
Sure.
there. Clay barring is perfectly acceptable with that?
Definitely, and obviously the clay cloths and clay mitts are a lot quicker, far quicker than a clay bar, but as you can see here, it may cause some damage.
What is this damage? Because I've seen clay marring before from a bar when you've got some grit basically trapped between the bar and the paint, and that's causing trouble. But this is a sort of a different effect.
So this, to me, without obviously doing it myself, I can't tell, but to me it looks like either a combination. The clay cloth may not have been warm enough, may have just been a bit too hard, and not enough lube.
Gotcha.
So that's really what I would say.
And when we talk to lube, a lot of people will try and cut some corners and just use some shampoo in a bottle diluted to create the lube. But generally speaking, particularly with cloths, I've heard, you want to be using proper dedicated clay lube.
Definitely.
Simply because it's got better lubricity than the shampoo does.
Yeah.
The shampoo is obviously to clean, and the lubricity of a shampoo is really a secondary thing to allow your wash mitt to go over the top of the surface. But obviously with a clay lube, it's all about physical abrasion, and thus it's going to be much better at it.
Yeah.
Cool. So what's your plan now? I think I'm guessing you're going to be looking at a single stage machine polish.
Yeah, so we're going to do a little test section. We may kind of see if we can do some of these deeper marks with a bit more of a cutting compound. But mainly I think we're going to do a single stage, and we're just going to see what works for it, really.
And what are your tools of choice? I'm guessing a long throw DA?
Yes, we've got 15mm roots,
Cool.
and the yellow pad of roots. Great pad, love that pad.
Yeah,
so we can, we've got enough of them so we can do like one pad per panel. So yeah, we've got a combination of the minis, and then I've also got a few of the other tools from the rotaries, for the like really small rotaries. And then we've got a new tool from XL Detailing that we're going to try and get underneath here, so a lot easier than getting do by hand.
What's that tool called? Have I heard of it?
Not sure. It's
You'll come to that.
So we'll come to that soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do, obviously, there's a lot of car to do here.
Sure.
We'll focus on this bit first, but we will get out of your hair. We've been following Graham around with cameras, and he absolutely loves it. He just gives the impression that it's really unnerving. And we'll let you to it, and we'll keep being annoying with cameras in the background.
Great.
Cool. Crack on. So, Graham, we've watched you do a single stage on this one with, what was it, Gtechniq F5?
Yes.
And we can see a substantial difference. All of the clay bar marring and marks have just vanished.
Yep.
As you identified earlier, the RDS, that ain't going to shift without probably a bit of paint in there, to be honest, by the looks of it. And there is still the odd striation, I would call, from going past, but that's the nature of doing a single stage, isn't it?
Without doing a heavy cut, we're not going to get rid of that. It's timed, on our side at the moment. So yeah, single stage is probably as best as going to get it.
Gotcha.
But still.
Certainly the colour, and it's interesting, you were reckoning it's a 3-stage pearlescent.
It looks like that kind of colour. It might not be, but it's a deep red, very pearly red.
Metallics are brilliant as well. It's so vivid. So no, the car in this panel at least is looking good. And one thing you might have noticed on the film is that Graham's got a tool, and this is what exactly?
It's basically a mini polisher from XL Detailing Supplies. So Nick has basically come up with this design. This has got an extension line, so it's essentially got two
Extra long.
Yeah, so it's a lot easier to leave on the floor and do a lot of the higher areas. And this is a new foam head that he's just brought out rather than kind of try and absolutely perfect for under door handles, as we
Yeah.
saw.
We were thinking from the cut point of view, you'll see on the film initially we started with F5, which is what we did in the rest.
Yep.
But in order to get a bit more cut, because bear in mind the cut comes from both the pad and the compound, it's a blend of the two. And it's quite a soft pad.
Very soft pad. So, you know, with the H8, cutting obviously a bit more, and then step it back to the F5.
Increase
Another
the tension needed.
Yeah.
So with these, I mean, the only other thing, there's an auto trizz one, which I think is rather more expensive.
It is a bit more. The value, you know, it's made in the UK, so it's a great.
British
great
build.
product. Yeah, so Nick makes them. So yeah.
Cool. Well, it's a brilliant piece of kit, and this is just a rotary here that you've got.
Yes, that's just a Roots rotary. Just an old one that I use just for this, really.
Yeah, and it will fit onto just about any rotary.
Yeah,
an M14.
Fitting. So yeah, it's
Brilliant. Well, what we're going to do now is, because of the time pressure, we've got a day to do this, and as I've banged on about repeatedly, so you can't do a full correction in a day, but you can do a single stage in a day. If it's a long day, and it will be a long day. In fact, we're actually asked John, who's with us today doing the filming, as you saw earlier, to assist with the machine polishing. I don't do machine polishing because it rates as manual labour, and we're going to get the rest of this car done. So watch this space.
Okay, so we have finished the single stage polish on this lovely Seat Leon FR. We brought up the finish, brought up the gloss, and removed a lot of that clay bar marring that we saw at the start of the piece. We are now going to go on to the final stage, the fun bit, where we're going to be applying Wax Planet Oblivion, which is a good mid-range 3-month wax. Smells of, guess the smell?
Terry's chocolate orange.
Terry's chocolate orange. And we tested this in the PVD wax mega test. Did very well on all the sort of gloss, hydrophobic qualities, and it's a very nice wax. How are you finding the wax to apply?
Seems really easy to go on. Yeah, it glides on really nice.
While the guys are all applying the waxes, I thought it might be a good idea to give you a couple of top tips when applying the wax. The first thing, which we are actually kind of breaking here, is tend to do it on warmish panels. If you can do it, have the wax that's reasonably warm and the car that's reasonably warm, you'll find it goes on much, much better. And if it's cold, particularly for example on matte cars, you put cold wax on, it may not emulsify properly, and then you'll be left with an awful, awful finish. So it's well worth getting the temperature right. But as you can tell from the breath at present, we are in a unit, but it's very, very cold in Northampton apparently. In terms of when you're applying the wax, we're just using foam applicators here, but you're perfectly able to use, say, a microfiber applicator, stuff like that, but foam, generally speaking, is the best. John, are you always using foam, do you think?
I always use foam to apply wax, yeah.
Cool.
You do see some guys applying them by hand, but I just find that a little bit more problematic.
Yes, when John says that, he literally means by hand, as in with your fingers. They do say, because your hands obviously have a natural heat to them, and you've got fingerprints and stuff like that, which essentially just create friction. You can also then apply it that way, and I suppose it's a way you can kind of get all touchy-feely with your motor car, but I would suggest not doing that in a public space. And in terms of this particular wax, John, how long do you reckon we should leave it to cure?
I would give it about at least 10 minutes, especially at this temperature. You could leave it longer. It's going to, you know, it's not hard curing wax, so we'd be fine with leaving this for 20 minutes and then buffing it back. But we can test a little area after 10 minutes to see if it's hazed out and started to cure.
That's cool. So again with waxes, generally speaking, the colder it is, the longer you can leave them, because what we're seeing now, well, we're not seeing it, but it's happening, is all the carrier solutions and solvents in a wax are kind of evaporating out, leaving the wax on top. And so when you buff off, what you're doing is removing the excess wax, which brings me nicely onto the next point, which is over-waxing. If you put too much wax on, it's not going to benefit you at all, because there's only a very thin layer to be retained by the car anyway, so you're going to go through your wax quicker. but B, it can be a real pig to get off, particularly if it's so thick that it's sort of just drying out, so to speak, at different speeds, and then it becomes all draggy and not very nice to do. So that's another tip, is to not apply too much. Less is, generally speaking, more with waxes. And in terms of how long it takes to wax a car, when you have 3 helpers, doesn't take very long at all. But we will come back once these are all done, once it's cured, and see what the car looks like. So, we're just waiting for the wax to cure at the moment, and we've gone around and we've done some wheel waxing as well. But while we're on the topic of wheels, I thought, what's letting this car down? Because the paint's looking pretty good, glass is looking pretty good, wheels are looking pretty good, but the tyres, well, they're not perfect. And so what I thought would be a nice idea to try a new product that I've been sent, which is Gtechniq T2. Now, you've used quite a lot of Gtechniq products in the past, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. Never used that, but yeah. So
and
there we go.
You like them? You don't like them?
Yeah, no. Some of the products, as with a lot of manufacturers, like some of them, don't like others. But yeah, no. Gtechniq's pretty stable, kind of good things.
Good, consistent products.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm just going to read here. No, actually, you're going to read that. What's it say on the back? The big writing.
So Gtechniq dirt repellent. It's easy to apply. It's good durability. Simple application and non-sling formula.
So sling is something you'll find that people talk a lot about, and you think, what's sling mean? But sling is when you put a coating on a tyre, and bear in mind you can get quite thick, sort of Maguire's, what do they call it, ultimate tyre gel. They do a really
Hybrid dressing.
Well, what's the one?
Endurance.
Endurance, that's it. Now that's a really nice product, but by gosh, it's so thick and stuff that can spin round and fling and stuff like that. So with this one, hopefully, it won't do that. Now, what's your normal procedure for applying tyre dressing?
So normally on cars where you get the enhancement details or the full details, I would jack up on the jacking point so I can spin the wheel so we can do the whole of the outside of the tyre face. Just gets a better coverage rather than a lot of people doing this section, having to roll the car forward, then doing the other section. Just gives it even. But for here, we're just going to leave it as it is, and then we'll roll the car, and then we'll do it.
Which again, if you're doing this at home, bear in mind, if you do have the time, if you do have a garage, if you do jack the car up, then you'll probably get a better finish. But on the flip side, do also bear in mind that'll take longer, and do please take care from a health and safety point of view. Don't run yourself over because it's really embarrassing. Well, I'll give you that one. Take it away. We had a quick go with it, and to our surprise, it's a sort of a white, creamy, well, quite watery liquid.
Yeah, very
And
liquid.
it came out all over the place. You really weren't expecting
Yeah,
it, were
no.
you? It's the first time that's happened.
Yeah, so yeah, it's obviously a very liquid dressing.
And on the front tyre we've done so far, I can see it's certainly doing the wet look all right. It obviously, being a liquid, gets into all the nooks and crannies quite well.
Yeah, so we'll carry on applying it to the rear one.
Gotcha.
Give it a go.
And I'm guessing it's supposed to be liquid. We believe, after a little bit of panicked research, it is supposed to be a liquid, and it's just not that he didn't shake properly. So yeah, no, it's all good.
Great.
So we have dressed the tyres, we've applied the wax to the bodywork, and we've applied wax to the wheels. And given the temperature, we thought it's a good idea to do a quick test just to make sure the wax is good to be removed. Now this is called the finger test, and what you need is a finger, ideally clean and dry, and you literally wipe it over the wax very, very gently, and just see in the wax whether you've actually removed it with your finger, and that means that it's ready to come off, and to our delight it is in this case. And when it comes to taking waxes off, and again, I've said this before and I'll say it again, use a nice new microfiber. You've just put all this effort, well not me obviously, but Graham, has put all this effort into getting this car much glossier and nicer than it was before, with a very long day worth of machine polishing. The last thing you want to do is put in marks because you've been tight and not got yourself a new microfiber. However, one caveat is microfibers, these are available from Costco and probably other places, but Costco, and they're great, they're cheap, they do, they're not the softest of soft, but they're perfectly adequate for this sort of purpose. Bear in mind, this car hasn't been fully corrected. It's just been a single stage on there, and it looks a lot better as a result, but it doesn't matter having not the super soft, but this label is the problem. This label can cause all sorts of marks and stuff, so all you have to do is pull it off like that, and try not to destroy the microfiber at the same time if you can avoid it. And then it's much safer to use. And Graham, have you got any advice and tips for people on how to remove wax?
Slow and steady, really. You know, don't rush it. Make sure you get all of it. Keep flipping the cloth. I see a lot of people are trying to do like the whole car with one side. Just keep doing it, and if you need another one, go and get another cloth. That's pretty much it.
Cool. Right. Well, I only took that off display purposes, so I'll leave you to it.
Great.
So it's been a really long day here in Northampton and a chilly one, despite being in a unit, but I think it's been worthwhile. Do you like your car?
Absolutely love it. It's amazing. You've done a really, really good job. Thank you so much. Learnt so much as well under Graham's watchful eye. Got to go, use some of the machines, and certainly learnt a lot. And we'll put it into practice every week going forward.
Perfect. Well, that's exactly what we like to hear. Thanks very much to PistonHeads for making the competition happen.
Absolutely, yeah, brilliant.
And thank you very much for Graham for taking the time out to spend so long polishing this motor car. And thank you to John, who you can't see currently because he's pressing buttons behind you, for spending the day here as well and helping with all the camera work and the polishing work. So all that leaves now is for yourself to drive home and try not to get it too dirty in the rain.
Perfect.
And I believe Graham has got an evening of polishing planned.
Yeah,
exciting.
Great. Thank you very much.
Cool. Cheers. Thank you. Thank you for watching our feature with GM Detailing in Northampton with our PistonHeads winner and his lovely Seat. If you would like to watch more videos from our channel, feel free to click here. And if you'd like to subscribe to the channel for future videos, click here.